Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts television show. And we want to welcome those of you back who were with us on last week and the weeks previously to that. I hope that some of you are starting to tune in and check us out, because we do talk about the arts, which we are a music school, and all of the wonderful instruments that we teach at our school, which is located at 6353 South Cottage Grove. Now, this is a place where you can come, you can bring your children. You can also, if you have interested in our free program, which is on Saturday from 10:30 to 11:30, which is a hand drumming program, you're welcome to come out to that. There is just a small registration fee, and after that it is totally and completely free. So we want you to hang around with us for the next 25 or 30 minutes. We're going to be talking about some issues here. Now, although we are a music school, this show is dedicated to informing and making aware the community of certain things that are happening both nationally as well as locally here in the Chicago area. And today we want to talk about something. There's so much going on in the country now until it is almost impossible not to notice it. For the last 12 months, it's almost like everything has been on thin ice. And we're wondering just, what's going to happen next, or, who's going to say this or say that. And it's just a lot of hocus pocus going on in the country right now. We want to talk about a little of that on today. But I want to invite you to call in and make comments if you have any. I hope you're out there. I think I want to make certain that I guess we have the same bandwidth that we had before, and of course we had enough power to take us around the Chicago area and then out in some of the suburbs. But this year we haven't gotten as many callers. This is an interactive program, and we want you to pick up the phone and give us a call and participate in the discussion. You see the number there, 312 on the 738, 1060. So that's going to be 738-1060-312. And you can call in right now. My assistant, who is Mr. Lionel Don, who's working the board, will be more than happy to take your information or to let you on the air if you want to have something to say, or explain to you something about the many music programs that we have. We do teach the saxophone, the trumpet, the piano, the drums, as well as the vibraphone and some other instruments. So give us a call and we'll fill you in on the rest of what you need to know about these programs. Right now I want to spend a few minutes here, and also you can call our facility, which is 773-891-1875. And you can get further information on what we're doing. If you don't get anybody on the phone, you can leave a message and we will get back to you shortly. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to pay strict attention to some of the things that we're talking about on the day, because these things are going to resonate with you as the year goes by. And you need to be aware of what's happening in this city as well as in the country. And so we come on the air to help you become familiar with these things, okay? Now what I want to do is I'm going to, first of all, today we want to ask a question. And that question is the president, Donald Trump, is he real or fake? Now, I'm using that particular word, fake, because this is one of his favorite words. He calls just about everything fake. And we want to talk about that today. First of all, we know that Mr. Trump has come from a gambling casino background. And as a gambling casino owner, folks, let me tell you something. Some of the most crooked or fake people in the whole world have been owners of these gambling casinos. And this is something that all of us know. We know that there are people who are tied to these casinos that are tied to organized crime. In many cases, some of them may be even silent partners, so you don't know them. You know, their faces are hidden, but nonetheless, they are there. You know, and so what we want to do is we want to kind of let you know what's going on with respect to that. So anybody who's involved in that probably is going to be involved in lying, and even in some stealing and cheating, you know, and even when it comes down to abusing women. It's just that type of atmosphere, you know. It's not really something that that you can say, man, this is crystal clean. You know, I can bring my little kids, my grandkids around this. Everything is so smooth. It's an atmosphere that sort of swelters with criminal activity. And so this is something that all of us need to be aware of. This is the experience that this man has had. In addition to that, somebody said that as a result of some of these deals that were made out there, that he has had to file bankruptcy 4 times. I don't think I know of anybody who's ever filed bankruptcy 4 times. No one that I know of has ever filed bankruptcy 4 times. That's when you borrow, and in the case of a man like Donald Trump, you would have been borrowing maybe $50 or $100 million, because he borrows that kind of money at one time. And you would have already had probably in your mind that as soon as I get my hands on this money, after I pay 2 or 3 installments, I'm going to file bankruptcy on it. I mean, you knew that coming in from the very outset. In addition to that, we have a situation. Now remember what we asked. Is this man real or is he fake? Now remember that he refused to denounce the white supremacists, the Ku Klux, which is what I call them, and that's what they are, the Ku Klux, as well as the neo-Nazis in this thing in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now this was gross in itself. It pointed to the fact that a man who calls himself a Christian is actually supporting hate groups. That there's no real place in America for a person like that. You know, there's no real place in the world for a place like that, a person like that. I mean, this is ridiculous that an individual would claim that he's a Christian, and yet he's supporting so many hate groups. Now, in addition, you know, he referred to the Mexicans as rapists and drug dealers. And I know that the Mexican people could not have felt good about that. I mean, openly said that. And he really wasn't denounced that much by people in this country. Now, let's keep on going. He was caught on tape saying some of the most degrading things about women that a man could say. Caught on tape. And then had the gall to suggest that it wasn't really his voice. This is ridiculous. I mean, it's unconscionable, reprehensible. It's every kind of thing that it's breathtaking, you know. And then again, he criticized the American free press. Ladies and gentlemen, the American free press is probably what makes this country different from any other place. The fact that we're able to speak the truth without fearing that we're going to be imprisoned. This is a profoundly significant amendment, a profoundly significant amendment. And it was added to the Constitution for a reason. And to speak in a negative way, to criticize this by claiming that it is all fake. Come on. And do you know there are American people who are allowing this to be crammed down their throats? Why? Because they want to. They want so much to believe this man. They believe that this man is some sort of hero for them. He's speaking all the things that I wish I could speak. You better be happy that you can speak those things. Because those things bring bad things into people's lives. Somebody said that cause and effect is very strict. It's real. That we actually reap what we sow. The scientists have proven that. Everything is based on cause and effect. And if you're making causes like that on the air and in the White House, somewhere along the line, somebody's going to read those things. And now, to refer to the Haitians and the Africans as S-holes. You know what the S stands for? It's been all on the news. I'm wondering, where is the leadership in this country? And for the other politicians, I mean, these are big shots, senators and congressmen, to claim and pretend as though these things were not said, or I don't recall them being said, and we know what that means. I think Jeff Sessions, our Attorney General, must have said that 25 or 30 times in his hearing before the Congress. I simply don't recall. Then if you can't recall anything, you shouldn't even be in, you certainly shouldn't have a big job like that, because that means there's something wrong with your brain. And if there's something wrong with your brain, you shouldn't be in a big, powerful position like that. But nobody seems to be able to recall anything. I don't recall. I simply don't recall. And I'm laughing because it's funny. Nobody seems to recall anything. I'm so glad that you're not in college or high school or even elementary school, because if you told the teacher every time she asked you a question you didn't recall anything, you're not going to pass. You're going to get the worst grades around. I think they're being disingenuous. I think they recall so much. But many of these people are afraid of this man. I don't understand how you could be elevated to be a senator. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a huge political position. And be afraid of somebody. And not only are they afraid, but I think some of these people don't have the character and the integrity it takes in order to be a person like that. Most of us, if we were elevated to a big political position like that wouldn't be afraid of anybody. We'd speak up. And some people are speaking up. I look at Senator Graham. First I looked at Senator Dick Durbin. From our own senator from here in Illinois. Dick Durbin is the one who dropped the dime on him. Okay? And then Graham, who is a Republican, came along and said he appreciated that Dick Durbin had dropped the dime. Now, as far as he went, he didn't go any further. He just said, I appreciate what the senator said, which means that I'm so happy that he had the character, the courage, and the integrity to stand up and say what really happened. So, my hat's off to Graham for having the courage to say that, because most of those people there, especially in that party, they're not Americans first, they're Republicans first. Just like the Ku Klux Klan. They're not Americans first, they're Ku Klux first. The neo-Nazis, they're not Americans, and they weren't Germans first, they're neo-Nazis. The white supremacists, the white nationalists, they're not Americans first. They're not Americans first. And if you're not an American first, I don't want to be bothered with you, okay? And I served in Vietnam, and I got medals, and served honorably, and I've been in, in all kinds of other stuff, that I could start talking about right now as an American. And my grandfather, I tell people about my grandfathers. I told them one owned 1,000 acres of land there in Alabama. He farmed it, tilted the land and farmed it, and grew on it. That's a lot of land. Then I had my mother's father, my grandfather, on my mother's father. He was actually electrocuted. He was struck by lightning, I should say, on his way out from the pasture, he and his mule. And it was very stormy day, and both he and the mule lost their lives, and that those mules, if you know anything about farming, they have these metal pieces all on them and whatnot. The plow part has metal on it. He was just 45 years old, struck dead, he and the mule both. So what I'm saying here is that that's an American. See? And so the people who are causing all the havoc and the trouble in this country and are going around talking about what is the statement? It's let's make America great again. In other words, let's go back to when there were a lot more white privileges going on, when you could get away just about with anything. When you could hang a black man, a crowd of what I call yellowback cowards, because that's what it takes to jump on one man and rope him up and whatnot, 50 people to do that. Let one try it, let two try it. It's a big difference right there. But if you go after one man, and you got your guns and your shot, and the sheriff, and he's followed Klan himself, the judge is a Klan, and you decide that you're going to hang somebody because of the fact that they're walking around town with their head up and not all drooped over with you in front of you as though you are some special or some superior individual. So you gather up your 50 or 60 men and you decide you're going to go over to the house one night, burn a cross, and drag him out and hang him. It takes only a coward could do that. Only a good-for-nothing, low-down coward could do that, And that's what I call people who do things like that. Even the police officers who are shooting up kids, like that kid, what's his name? I think it was the kid that the cop shot 16 times, 17 years old. Um, what is it, Ladonald, I think his name was. But it takes a coward to do that. A coward. A little bitty kid, didn't look like he was hardly 150 pounds, 17 years old. You know, it takes a coward to do that. And I don't like cowards, and I know most people don't like cowards. You know, if you're gonna do something, you know, let's make it even. Put your you know, AK-47 down or whatever you're carrying, and then walk out. Let me see how brave you are. Let me see just how much courage you have then. But anyway, I'm a little off track here, but people know they've heard me talk like this before about things because I consider myself a real American, you know, and not some cheap lowlife who's trying to, who's living a life to create havoc and cause a lot of hatred. And that's what people are doing, you know, and I really feel sorry for people like that to some extent, because if you're living a life and all you can say is that you created a lot of hatred, caused a lot of chaos and confusion among people, once you're dead, man, you're nothing but just you're nothing but, I mean, you were nothing. And you'll be remembered as nothing, you know. You won't be remembered as anything. You'll be remembered as nothing. In fact, a lot of people like that, when they're gone, their relatives don't even mention them because they are ashamed of them. They have the shame of the way that they were, and they don't walk around saying, "Oh, that was my brother, that was my father, that was my sister." They pretend as they just don't say anything. I'm not saying that they don't care about them. I'm saying that they don't try to keep their memories alive. Now, let me just get back to this. There may be some likely colluding that's been done with the Russians with respect to this election, this president election that we just had. And if that's the case, somebody could go to jail. Now, they got this guy, Bannon, Steve Bannon, who's going to be, I think he's going before the Congress a second time, this time under oath, because they're going to be, they have issued some sort of order. And then, of course, they got O'Bannon, Steve Bannon, he's going to be interviewed by the special prosecutor, and so somebody's getting ready to sing. Somebody's getting ready to sing. And when they start singing, trust me, a lot of the lyrics are going to get people in trouble. Now, I don't wish any bad luck on anybody, but I can tell you this right now. I don't think for 1 second that the Russians somehow didn't play some role in this last election. I don't care how Trump calls it a hoax or fake news and all this other stuff. I believe that the people will know the truth and know that these aren't lies and it's not fake, you know, it's not a hoax, but it's the truth. And individuals are going to have to pay for that, you know. They're going to have to know that people are going to have to pay for that. And it's going to be unfortunate because a lot of them are very young and they could go to jail for a very long time. So, now, how about the name calling? Do we like that? Well, you go around calling people names. You know, I remember they called Congressman Wilson a bunch of names, and then the general came out. He personally called her some names, and turned out that she was only doing what she was supposed to be doing. They never came back and even apologized for it. Because this is the people, and when people do that, they have no character. Somebody can look at them and say, oh, wow, that's an individual that I really respect. When Mr. Kelly came out and made those statements about this woman like he did, and before that I said, well, this guy is a military man, 4-star general. He's probably going to be good for the administration, and he could bring some sort of calmness to that whole thing. But when he came out like that, I'm saying, wait a minute, this guy is nothing but another duck in line with the program where you're lying on people, you're calling them names and whatnot, and even refusing to backtrack and apologize for it, you know? So, and I was in the military myself, and I served with Marines. I was a Navy guy, but I served, a bunch of Marines were on the ship I was on, and a lot of them were my friends. I used to go out with one guy all the time, called him Sarge, and we had a lot of fun together. But the bottom line, though, is well, I was around people that this general, I don't remember any Marines being like that. I don't remember anybody just doing, you know, saying things like that. Because believe me when I tell you, folks, the military is a kind of a special place. And there is a certain kind of culture that, and I'm not saying that people don't tell some lies here and there and whatnot, but, you know, the bald-faced lies, the straight out, just, you know, plain old out lying like that, you don't run into that too much in the military. But I've lost I've lost a whole lot of respect for that individual based on that. And I want to say this right here, that this plane with these nuclear weapons, talking about my button is bigger than yours, you know, this is out of control, folks. This isn't a game. We've read about what nuclear weapons can do. And so I'm just saying that I think that right now we need to call it what it is. And we ask the question, is this man real or is he fake? I think we need to be looking at those who are calling others fake and pointing to them as though this may be you, and you may be looking directly at yourself instead of others, you know. So, all right, so we're going to be talking to you on next week. I know that we talked about a lot of things on today, but a lot of things are going on, and they've been on our mind, and I'm sure for sure they're on your mind. I want to invite you to give us a call at 773-891-1875, and you can then ask us more about the music program. But there's so much going on. Going to talk to you more in detail on next week about the music that we're doing. If you want to get more information, just give us a call. Once again, 773-891-1875. I want to thank you for coming in to us and spending some time with us on the day, and we'll see you on next week.